6 cents. It did start to get warm.
Promise I'm not drinking wine with ice. I'm drinking lemon and coconut water in a wine glass, so that's why there's ice.
And for anyone wondering, I'm drinking a Belgian ale. It's backwards on the video, but I don't know how you say it. Leffe? Leffe?
I don't know.
There's many of these letters are probably silent, and I'm very incorrect, but good stuff. Blonde ale from somewhere over there.
Where?
Somewhere over near Germany.
Okay. Anyways, we went to a psychic.
Yeah.
On
We did.
4th of July, I went to go visit a friend for a couple hours, come home to my husband sitting on the couch, and he says, I got you a surprise. And you don't really do surprises, so I was kind of surprised.
I had to make it a surprise because that's not something that you just like casually say while you're eating dinner. Like, hey, by the way, we're gonna go see a psychic tomorrow. Like, what?
Well, I still can't wrap my mind around, like, when you told me that, I for sure thought you were joking. To find out it was real, coming from you was, and still is, kind of mind-blowing. So I would love to hear, like, one, what brought you to do that? And also talk about how if this was even 1 year ago, you would have never, ever done this. So how did this come to be?
I don't know. I didn't really have like a crazy like impression to do it, but it was like just in the last little bit, I've kind of gotten to a point with how I view the world as far as like the spiritual aspect of things. Because I grew up a different way, and it left a sour taste in my mouth. So obviously, you know that.
Yeah, what way?
It just made it to where like it's all bullshit, kind of. Like everything's bullshit. It's not real. It like almost pushes you to a spot where, like when you leave that kind of like hardcore mentality, that hardcore lifestyle, that works for some people.
You're talking about like religious institutions.
Yeah, a lot of that, especially like the really really crazy strict ones. And once again, to each their own. It does, once you step away from that, it does leave a sour taste in your mouth. I don't care who you are. Doesn't necessarily mean you harbor ill will towards any of those people. You know, it's a free country, it's a free world. Do whatever you want. But it almost pushes you into a spot of like, almost like you are kind of like an atheist in a way. Like you're not really, but you just the way you look at things, it's like everything's bullshit. It's all a lie. Everything's spiritual. They're all full of shit. It's all made up. They're all scamming people. And I've had a number of conversations, some of them pleasant, some of them not so pleasant, with people in the last couple years. And it's just gotten me to a point now where I have my own personal beliefs and stuff, but it just made me be a little bit more accepting, and maybe there is some truth behind all this stuff. And I don't know, it just randomly hit me. I was just like, I had a couple of days off of work, and I was like, what would be something super fun and random to do? And if it doesn't work out, then who cares? I'm only out not that much money. It's not like an excursion.
Yeah,
And
but this is like more than just like let's go to church on Sunday, which is like
yeah,
weird for us. We wouldn't do that. We
yeah,
both grew up going to church. You a lot more than me, a lot different version because
bit,
it
yeah.
was you were like that was your whole life. And for
Yeah.
me, we just went on Sundays here and there. But even for me, like growing up, I was taught to be scared of psychics, mediums.
Oh, for sure.
You're
Yeah.
not supposed to engage at all.
Yeah, that's almost like going to like you're basically hanging out with devil worshippers
Exactly.
at that point. Like that's how it's viewed from, at least from, I don't know, I don't want to throw names out there, but at least from a standpoint of like a very religious point, it's like any of that. Yeah, that's the devil's work right there. You
Yeah,
don't
that's
take part
like
in that.
what we're taught. So even for me, like it's been a few years for me, like through college, still seeing myself as a Christian, but like really not going to church. um I still like had my beliefs, but I would be very resistant to something like that a couple of years ago, and
Yeah.
still scared of it. Like I had a lot of fear around that, of like, that's bad, that's scary, you can't do that.
A lot of the things that we were like taught around it too is not only is I've come to find that it's not true, but a lot of it, like the scare tactics that are thrown into it, is almost like bad juju is gonna attach itself to you if you go, like you're gonna get bad luck. Like it's almost like associated with that. Like if you're someone who goes to a psychic, you go see a, you go get your palm read, you go to a tarot reader, tarot card, whatever it is. I don't even understand all of it fully, but if you're someone that goes to any of that, like you've like crossed into like the dark side, and now like life is going to be pretty much inverted for you. Life is going to be completely different. You are now on a different team. Bad things are going to happen to you. You're going to see black cats hanging around your house, like shit like that. It's like that. That's kind of like, none of that was ever told directly to me, but that's just like the way people that I trusted, people that were guiding me and leading me, and people that still tried to step in and have a fucking opinion. That's the way that they portrayed all of it.
Yeah, I had the same exact teachings about
Yeah.
that. I think the difference with us is that since I didn't have such a strict religious engagement, like we subscribed and went, but it wasn't our whole life. Like we would miss a Sunday. We didn't go like Wednesday, Friday, Sunday, Saturday.
Yeah.
We didn't go all the days. So because of that, I wasn't so tied. So at the end of college, I would honestly say, like, right before I met you, when I was like 23, after college, I became friends with a girl, and she would like do like tarot cards, and she taught me about like manifestation, and it was all like so positive and so fun and so like beautiful and exciting. And it was like, wait, I can control like I'm not a victim in my own life. Like it was just so uplifting and so positive. So she kind of like got me into that world of like, this is like, I feel good doing this. I feel good knowing that like the universe is working in my favor and that I can like really tune in with it. And she kind of just got me into that world of like, your intuition really means something. It's not something that is kooky or not real or
you're not a weirdo for expressing it and acting in certain ways because of intuition. But honestly, like what I don't know, I wouldn't have said that on my own, but now that you say it, that's like kind of what I view it as now, like looking at like the eye-opening experience of doing that, and like just the way that, how positive everything is. Like things like that almost put you in the driver's seat. They like you're in the driver's seat of your life. The universe is here to help you and guide you, but you're in the driver's seat. You choose, you make your own fate, kind of deal. You do all this stuff.
Empowering.
You attract good or bad, whatever it is. Whereas the opposite side of like the religion aspect, and there's probably a million people that would want to hang me for saying this. It's the exact opposite. I spent almost 20 years in that lifestyle. I can say that from a first-hand experience. You're not in the driver's seat. You're led to believe you're in the driver's seat, but it's like, if anything good happens to you, it's only because God did it for you, or it's some kind of weird mind game trick from the devil or something like that,
or it's
or
because you were a good boy or a good girl, so like you were blessed. But it's like not.
But that isn't you. You're not in the driver's seat at that point. You're basically telling me that I'm just subjected to this life, and my only hope is to follow this blindly. And once again, everybody's free to do whatever they want, but going this route and going and seeing a psychic, it's not, I don't know, it's like so much more eye-opening than anyone would ever expect, and it's so much more positive, to where like, I walked out of there just like, holy shit, what the hell was that? What was that?
And what I loved so much about it is, because even going into it, I still so like to bring it full circle, I was like,
Yeah.
I would be down to do this for the past couple of years, but because of how strong and strict your upbringing was with religious views,
Oh, you
it's
know,
super normal for people like with a strict religious upbringing to you have to go to the full opposite of the pendulum
yeah.
and go like, I don't believe in any of it. You have to spend some time there, and I met
Yeah.
you during that time. I met you
Oh, yeah.
where I would be scared when you like were saying stuff about how
Yeah.
like you don't believe any of it, and I would be like, no, because like I still had my like, I believe I'm a Christian. I still call myself a Christian,
Yeah.
even though I hadn't really practiced in years. But then just like gradually you opened up and you were like, okay, clearly there is a higher power that is
Yeah.
really, we're creating all of this together. And like we've both grown a lot in what we believe, but going to the psychic was even surprising that like you're at that point where you're down for it. And it was so positive, I think, because of the approach we had going in. And then also afterwards, it just opened up so many amazing conversations to talk about our relationship, which is so healthy.
Yeah. No, I always had on the table, like, you know, I want to go because this is an interesting thing. And I just had it in the back of my head. If I get there and this person's just a nut job and it sucks, like I've been led to believe, if nothing else, I'm just going to mess with this person. I'm just going to, you know, give them bogus information.
I think I was a little scared you were going to do that, and that would make me uncomfortable.
No, I was on the phone with my brother and my cousin the night before, and I told them, I was like, yeah, I'm going to see a psychic tomorrow. They started laughing. I was like, yeah, don't worry, dude. I'm just gonna be fucking with her the whole time.
Yeah, and I would be so uncomfortable if you were being like disrespectful and messing with her. Like,
yeah.
I was worried.
I had that on the table. Like, if I get here and it is as dumb as I've been led to believe, then I'm just gonna entertain myself at that point and then leave. But I got there and it was the exact opposite. It was one of the, honestly, hands down, one of the like best things I've done in my entire life. It was just cool. It was so positive. It was so reassuring, and it was eye-opening to see other people using their intuition and like harnessing it to like bring joy to people and just kind of reassure people that they're on the right path and to be more confident in themselves. And yeah, it's an amazing thing. There's none of that. You go there and they're like, they pull a card. She said this right off the bat when we got there. You know, pull a card and it's like, oh, you're gonna die in 6 weeks. There's none of that. It's I'm sure you can go to some nut job in their garage that would be willing to do that, but they're probably gonna smell like brandy and they're gonna have 3 cigarettes hanging out of their mouth, and it's gonna be some idiot on the back pages of Craigslist. That's not real.
I like how we approached it, because even on the drive there, we talked a lot about like, we're just going to see what happens. We have no expectations. This is very new for both of us. And at the same time, we need to make sure that no matter what she says, we know that we have free will and we control our own lives.
Yes.
Like, we could totally change whatever she sees. So if she tells us we're about to die in 6 months, that's not like, oh, I better just lay down and cry about it. Like, no, we can change, like,
you could change
the
course
direction.
you're on. Yeah.
Yes. So we talked about that before. And then, right when we got there, she was incredible. She said, like, I'm not interested in like connecting with your dead relatives. I hope that's not why you came here.
Yeah.
And she's like, and I'm also not interested in giving you like a doom and gloom, you're gonna die next week, so I hope you're not scared about that.
We came to the right place then.
Yeah, because I was like, good, because all we want to know is like, just where do you see us like at this time, and like, is it aligned with what we believe, where we believe we're headed?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Now jumping into the experience itself, because I could feel myself close to jumping on a rabbit trail about religion. I don't think anyone would appreciate that right now. Most of all, my parents, shout out. But the experience itself. So this is something that I think we discussed, that like it would be, I'm not like as interested in going again in the future. Because like we did it the first time, I know what it's about. I would be totally down to go, but I'm not like, I don't have the itch to do it again, at least not anytime soon.
It's not like a therapy where it's like, now that we've done it, I need her
to tell me to justify
every
everything and reassure me that I'm on the right.
Do that.
Yeah, you don't need that. We fortunately didn't go like, at least for me, because I'm a little bit private, especially with strangers. We didn't go too crazy into like detail and stuff like that. We didn't get into like I guess what do they say, the nitty gritty of life. We didn't get into all that. We just kept it very like surface level, pretty like common, but we did get into a little bit of detail. So what was the first thing that we were discussing with her? Do you remember?
I don't know which one was first, but I do remember she kind of disarmed us right away by saying something just like that was so obvious that she could not have just guessed that. So we like one of the first things she said was like, I'm seeing like home improvement, like you're getting your floors redone. You're doing some remodeling, and we looked at each other because like the weekend before, or like 2 weeks before,
not that long
we
before.
redid our, and she said you're getting new floors, and we looked at each other.
Yeah, it was very specific. I was like, DIY. I was like, yeah, I've done a little bit of that, and it was like, you're redoing your floors, or have you already redone your floors? I'm like, yeah, that's pretty much it. Dead on. I mean,
yeah,
it's not on any social media. It's not like you could have gone, unless you were going through receipts from the flooring company. You wouldn't have known anything about it.
Yeah, so I like how that was right in the beginning. So we were kind of like, she's tapped in. Like, she really can feel. It's not saying like, I'm going to take everything she says as fact. She doesn't know everything about us, but she can tap into something where, yeah, we did just go through that, and she's right.
Yeah.
So it gave her some validity, I felt.
And once again, I want to make it clear to anybody that this is something I'll say time and time again. The name a psychic has like bad connotations around it, because people think that this is somebody, and unfortunately a lot of psychics lead people to believe that they're like some crazy person, that like, they have this gift where they can tap into your mind and see what's going on in your life. That's not true at all. They're upselling themselves. All it is, because I rationalize everything, it's a very intuitive person. It's a very they pay attention. They just get feelings about people. But they're a lot more. Everybody can do it. Anybody has the ability to do it. I don't want to do it. Most people don't really care to be that kind of person. Some people want to, and they lean into that. And those are the types of people that do it. I just want to make that clear.
No, I agree. I think we need to say that because that's a huge thing that we both know is like we all have a sixth sense, and that's our intuition.
It is.
And I used to like block that out my whole life until a couple years ago. And I've been really working hard to just really use that to guide me a lot more and like know that I'm on the right path and trust my life path. And so seeing her be so tapped in, it's like she's not this extra special non-human spirit. She's a human. I also
they had to sell their soul in a 7-Eleven bathroom.
Like whatever we've been told. But we also have the same intuition that we could tap into to like feel the energy of the people that you spend time with, and that's what she did, and she did it very well. And I want to like grow that more, but I don't want to like sell it for money. But
but we all have the ability to do that. There's like with your family and your friends, like with people that are around you, like you can just be more intuitive, like just where you can see, like on people's faces, you can tell by how they're acting. Something good or bad's going on for me. You can see, like, oh, I can see the twinkle in your eyes. Something good just happened to you. You just get a raise. You just get whatever it is. And, that's something you can use to just be, I don't know, more, like, it'll bring you closer to the people you already care about. And that's something that, like, I try to emulate. It's like I don't want to just be a surface level moron with these people that I'm spending Thanksgiving and Christmas with. It's like, no, I want to be more intuitive. I want to be able to sit down and have meaningful conversations. So there's ways you can use it and not be someone who's sitting there with crazy artwork on your walls, flipping through tarot cards and trying to upsell people.
That random person that commented on my Instagram post that said, it was a picture of you and I, our engagement photos, and it was a stranger
Oh,
that
yeah.
said like, I'm a sidekick and you need to DM me right now, your relationship is in trouble. And it was like, what?
Yeah, I was like, bitch, you don't
No
know
one
me.
likes those kind of sidekicks.
No,
Leave
those
me
ones are just like,
alone. I didn't
first of all,
give you my permission to even try to
first
look
of all,
into.
that's it. I didn't give you permission
Yeah.
to say shit. Second of all, you don't know me. How can you look at a couple pictures and know anything? Like, dude,
Yeah,
shut
so
up.
no one likes that, but this was very.
I'm still
this
working
was
on
not
finding
like
where that person lives, but anyways.
I don't remember. That was like years ago, but yeah, so that was cool. So right away, we could tell she's very tapped in. She's very disarming, and I felt very comfortable with her. And
Yeah.
then, so right after that, basically the whole entire reading, her main thing she kept saying is like, you're pregnant, or if you're not pregnant right now, you are about to be pregnant. Like, she just is like, it's right. Like, that's all I could see. That's like the strongest thing.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I know for a fact I'm not pregnant. And it's funny you say that though, because we have a very clear plan of like, we are talking about it a lot because we do plan
It's
to
in our heads.
have kids
We discuss it.
less
It's
than
on our
1
minds.
year from now.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's also another important thing, because I realized that afterwards, it's important to have an open mind when you're there. Like, just be thinking about, like, like people play like those magic tricks where they want to, like, oh, I can guess what number you're thinking. Just go ahead, think of a number between 20 and 30. And usually it never works out, but it's the same kind of idea. It's like, you have to be open-minded. You have to be there for it. You have to be right there with them. You got to like put your mind in that realm. And you're not sitting there, just fucking meditating like an idiot. You're just sitting there having a conversation with another human being. But you have to be fully invested, fully involved. And the last like 15 minutes, my mind like went off on a deal because she was talking to you about something for a minute. Like, she was focused on you. And then I started thinking about something else. I think it was when she was talking about like my career situation or something. And so my mind went to that, and I was like thinking about that. But like then I started thinking about the job that we're doing right now, and I was off in left field. I completely just bailed out of the whole mind game. And then that's why the last 15, 20 minutes she only spent talking to you, because I left the room.
You were closed off.
Yeah, I closed off. I didn't do it intentionally, but looking back, I was like, oh, that's why she didn't have anything else to say to me at the end. Like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Like, you have to play part in it too. So if you're just, some drunk person looking to go sit down with a sidekick and just fuck with them, like, they're going to have nothing for you.
And
you're going to waste your time and their time.
I think I kind of said this, but not taking everything as fact, because that's what she said.
Yes.
Like, you're about to have a baby, like you're going to be pregnant sooner than you think. And I was like,
in the giant scope of life, yes, we are about to have a child.
But
sure.
Also, it doesn't mean like, oh, my plan of 1 year is thrown out the window now because the psychic said it's going to be less than a year. And it's like, my perception, basically my analysis of what she told me from someone who doesn't know me. She just read the situation. She can feel how on top of like, having a baby is very top of mind for me and for you. We've been talking about it a lot because we know like this is 1 year is going to be here faster than we know it.
It is, for sure.
So it's very top of mind. So clearly she could feel that. That doesn't mean I need to be like, well, we better cancel our trip to Italy because we're not going to make it. I'm going to be pregnant and I can't travel and I can't drink wine. Like, it's like, you don't need to like take it like that. Like, who knows? That could happen. But I'm not going to like freak out about that and be like, our plans are ruined.
Exactly. Yeah. No, that's not the way you're supposed to take it. You just, I don't know, like we said before, it just kind of gives like a confidence that like you're making all the right decisions, that you're on the right path. When another human being can sit down and they can feel these, intuitions and, oh yeah, no, that's kind of what's going on here. It's like, oh, that's cool. Someone else can see what we're seeing. Very nice. You could see my vision. But yeah, she discussed a couple other things, a couple of different career things, stuff that unless she knows who the superiors at my place of work are, she wouldn't know any of that. There's no reason she should know any of this at all. But she was like, the week prior, we had a discussion with my direct superior about long story short, me taking his position in the near future. And so obviously that's very top of mind for me. I'm just thinking about that, you know, because it's a whole different thing, whole different life circumstance. And she kind of picked up on it like right away. And was just kind of talking about that, and I was like, how are you?
Yeah, she said like you're about to get a promotion,
Yeah,
and you were
yeah.
like,
And I was like,
what do you mean? And she was like, I'm seeing like supervisor. I'm seeing something. And I
yeah,
was like, oh my gosh.
yeah. I was like, okay, yeah, superintendent. Yeah, no, you got it, nailed it. Um, but yeah, it's like little things like that where you would think that a lot of it was like blank stuff like blanket statements that could be said to anybody, but there was a lot of it that was majority of it, I would say, almost all of it was very specific to not even just us, but like to each one of us. Like stuff was very, very specific. There were a couple things peppered in there. There was just, you know, the classic, you had a rough childhood,
Yeah, she
stuff
said
like
that
that. It's
to
like,
me. I feel
okay, I
like
could say that to anybody and it would be true.
it was once you closed off. I felt like I almost like could feel her like kind of struggling through the last.
Yeah, because she
Like there
went
was
from
like,
2 clients down to 1.
well, there was like a moment
My brain
after
was in la la
I
land.
think we were overwhelmed too, because she was
Oh, for sure, yeah.
really like spot on, and we'd never done anything like this. So there was like a period of time around like 30 minutes in to 40 minutes in where I was kind of like zoned out. And I
Yeah.
think during that time she was like, you've been through it. Like you've had a hard childhood. And I was like, kind of. Like everyone has. Like
Sure, yeah.
everyone's had some struggles in their childhood.
There was all of it,
But
some of it, none of it. We've all had bad days when we were a kid. Everybody loves to talk
But
about
the
it.
thing that I think she did see is I've spent a lot of time in the past 2 years, especially like really doing like personal work. I've been super into personal development
Yeah.
and like inner child work of like reparenting myself and healing my childhood wounds. So she said,
It's very top of mind for you once again.
she said that, which was spot on. She was like, she said like you've had a tough childhood, and I was like, yeah, I guess, but like everyone has, and it was nothing like crazy.
Yeah.
But she was like, you've done a lot of work. Like you have really come a long way, and you've really done the work to heal these wounds. And I was like, yeah, I feel like that's true.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, she was spot on with a lot of stuff. Okay, Captain.
What about what she said about your vision for your old age?
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that. Because there was a lot she was kind of struggling with to discuss with us because it was our first time, so we didn't like really have a ton of like things to delve into. Like we were just kind of like, oh, we can, I don't know, just like talk about like our path, like our like careers maybe. You know, just like we didn't go into like what'd she say? She had like chicks come in there. It's like, oh, why won't my ex call me back? Stuff like that. It's like we didn't have anything like in detail, like a direct small thing like that. It's just like, well, I just want to know like why my dad did this to me when I was 15. It's like, no, okay, we didn't do that. But there was a point where she was trying to access whatever was in my head, and she like pretty much hit the nail on the head. It was just like, it was talking to me about like the career stuff, and was saying something about like a kind of like an extracurricular, maybe a side business, something like that, that possibly is going to be what ends up taking over, and you end up running with that, which I am kind of in the same spot. I don't fully know like what exactly it's going to be. I know kind of the direction I want to go, but it's still a ways out and all that, but that's the hope, the dream, to go that path. But one thing she said that really, really resonated, made a lot of sense. She's like, basically that she knows that I can see myself at, you know, an old age. You know, I can see myself right now. I know what I'm going to look like. I know what I'm going to be wearing. I know what I'm going to be drinking. I know I'm going to have a cigar. I'm going to be here in this place. And, you know, she's talking about all your grandkids there with you, stuff like I can see all that, and I can see me right now. But whatever is between me right now and me then, I have no idea. And she like said that. She's like, I just feel like you don't know exactly but you know what the ending's going to be, and you know where you're at right now. and that's all that matters.
And she's like, you just don't know how you're going to get there, but you know exactly that you're getting there.
You're going one way or another. You're going to get there, but you just don't know exactly how. I was like, pretty much, yeah. That's exactly where I'm at. I could tell you the brand of cigar I'm gonna have. I could tell you everything, but I can't tell you what's gonna happen between now and then. I can't tell you what career changes are gonna happen, what living situations are gonna change. We're gonna move here. Are we gonna stay here? Are we gonna do this? I don't know what's gonna happen. Am I gonna have 10 kids? Or am I gonna have one? I don't know. I have no idea.
That's the thing I think that we need to talk about next. What she said about our kids.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Okay, this was like the best part for me. I forgot. Besides,
that was also very accurate. It's weird.
So accurate. The best part was like she knew we were like really about to start our family.
Yes.
We're about to have a kid, but in like the next year or two. She thinks it's soon, but that is soon.
Yes.
Well, the cool thing is we have talked extensively about like how many kids we're having, what the timeline looks like, how many.
Hopefully, what genders.
Yeah, how many years apart.
Everybody talks about it. I know
names.
it's not guaranteed. Everyone talks about it. Shut up.
Yeah, we know their names, all the things. But
yeah,
the cool thing was she said, she's like, it's weird. I don't get this a lot, but you're gonna have 2 kids, or up to 4. She's like, I don't know why. This is weird. It's like a range. I've never seen this before. She's like, she didn't say she's never, but she's like, I don't see this often, but I'm seeing a range. It's almost like you get a pick. And she was like, no.
Yeah.
But she was like, pick your adventure. She was like, it's either, it's 2 for sure. Yeah. Maybe 4. And she was like, this is weird. And she kind of kept working it out in her mind of like, I'm just seeing 2 so clearly. But then like, and then she was like,
it's like in the background, there's like...
She's like, in the background, I'm seeing 4. But she was like, wait. No, I shouldn't tell you this because it's so far out. It doesn't make sense. It's not relevant. And I was like, no, tell me. And she's like, let me just say, you will have no problem being pregnant at 40.
Yeah.
And I was like, what? And I literally hit Levi's leg because I always talk about our timeline of like, I want to have 4 kids, but I want them all to be at least 4 years apart in age, like all spread out. So the first kid I want to have at 28, but then the second wouldn't be until like 32, then 36, then 40. Mm-hmm. And so 36, that's 10 years out. And she was like, no, I'm seeing like 10, 15 years out. That's not relevant to now. Yeah. But then she said, like, let me just
We've had this discussion before.
So that's why it's just like was crazy because that's why the 2 were so obvious to her. But the others were 10 years to 14 years later. So she was like not thinking it was relevant to like go that far out. Yeah. But I was like, no, that's so relevant because that's legit the exact timeline that I say.
No, and the other interesting thing when she was once like we all kind of got on the same page again, once she like almost I felt like she needed to be reassured there for a second because she felt like she was going way off the rails. Yeah. And like you could tell she was nervous to say it. Like she was kind of just standoffish, just like I don't know, I could be way out. And as soon as she like kind of just took a leap of faith and just said it, we're like, no, actually, yeah, we've had this. You just narrated 20 conversations we've had in the last 6 months.
And I love it because and you are resistant to having a child at 40. You think that's too old.
I won't be 40. So
so this is how I've reeled him in. He's 1 year younger than me, so if I'm exactly 40, you'll be 39. Yeah. So it's fine. But she said you'll have no problem being pregnant after 40.
Yeah.
So she knows it. And also she said I'll have no problem getting pregnant this first time, any of the times. So that means my health is in a good place because I have spent the past year really working on my hormone health and getting because I was on birth control for forever. I've now been off for a year and I've like got everything. My cycle is back. And because she was gone for years, but now like I know like my health is really thriving, and so it's good. She told me that I will have no problems.
Do you remember the other thing she said about the kids? Why the other 2 were like in the background? She was saying that like obviously they're closer to now, but then we kind of came to a conclusion of like we've discussed the first two so much in depth that like I feel like I already know them in a
Yeah,
way. Like
it's
I
true.
know everything, and then she was like started talking about like their behaviors. Was it the first one? Was the first one she said? She said I feel like the first one's gonna have a personality. Was it?
No,
What was it about?
this is what she said. She thought it was the first one because right when she told us about this whole like the being pregnant at 40,
Yeah,
I then started thinking like I almost like started connecting with our third and fourth child, being like, I knew it. You're the. I knew like
yeah,
because she got me worried of like, am I only gonna have two kids? Like, what the heck? And then right after she said that, I started connecting and I started thinking about that we say maybe this is over sharing to the public, but we say we're gonna have two girls first, then the third will be a boy, and then the fourth will be another girl. So right after she told me about like the third and the fourth will be later in life, I
yeah,
started really connecting with the boy of like, oh, we are going to have a son. And like, so I started thinking about that in my mind. Right when I
yeah.
started thinking about that in my mind, she said, I think your first child, but I don't know for sure. This is what their personality is going to be like. And when she described it, I think she was tapping into like me tapping into the boy because she said it's going to be a boy. And I don't think we're going to have a boy
I
first.
don't think so. No. So that could also be it because once again the intuition, like if you're in that spot, she's gonna tap into it and kind of make her own conclusions. There were a couple things that she was like a little bit off about, but it was all I could tell right away. It was based on like our reactions to it.
Yeah.
Like when she was talking to me about like you have a promotion kind of deal you've been presented with, and I kind of like smirked or smiled and like looked at you, and she was like, or it already happened,
Yeah.
and I was like,
The conversation already happened, but you
yeah, the
didn't get.
conversation already happened, but like based on my
Yeah,
reaction, she
because
was
we
like,
like looked and smiled at each other. She thought it
she was
already
like, oh,
happened.
just like the floors, it already happened.
Yeah.
Okay, all
But
right.
then, yeah. It
She's like,
never
oh,
went
my
off.
timeline's always a little bit off, and I was like, no, nah, but it's just like kind of based on your reaction, so it makes sense if you're thinking about that, she could think about that. But shout out to Miles because I guess one of my children, hopefully it's not one of the girls because that will be a handful and a half. Um, she asked if I had a brother, and I was like, yeah. And she's like, he's pretty crazy. He's kind of unpredictable. He's kind of like the one you never really know what's coming next. He
She
kind
said
of
he drums to the beat of his own drum.
he walks to the beat of his own drum. He does his own thing, and he just leaves you surprised all the time. You can never predict his next move. He's just all over the place. I was like, yeah, it sounds exactly like my brother. Yeah, 100%. She's like, yeah, that's kind of the personality that I'm getting right now. I was like, fuck.
Yeah, for our kid. And she's like,
I've heard that theory
she
before.
said your child is gonna be like Funkle.
I was like, oh my god, this is gonna be terrible. Okay.
But I think that wouldn't be the first girl. I've thought about like.
Oh, it does end up happening. Like kids end up. I've seen it before. They end up picking up a lot of like characteristics from like either their dad or their mom's like brother or sister, so like their uncle or aunt. One of the kids will get like some kind of personalities where it's like you can see when it's like the nutty ones. It's like, oh, you're just like your Uncle Steve was. You're crazy. So I know there's some truth behind it, but I just thought it was funny that she said that.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
I've thought about that for a long time. My parents have made jokes about that for a long time. I was like, one of your kids you're gonna be stuck with another Miles. Oh man, this is gonna be terrible.
Yeah, so all these parts that
Love
haven't
you, Miles.
happened yet, it's fun to see how her intuition synced up with kind of what we've talked about.
Yeah.
And it's like those things are not fact, so they might not happen. It depends on how we make decisions and how we
Yeah.
live our lives. But it's really fun to like hear someone that you've never told we've never talked about this with anyone except for each other, and then to
Yeah,
have
this
a
is not-
stranger like mirror it back to you. It's really fun, and it makes you excited to be like, it's not just within our own conversations, like
Yeah.
the movement we're making and the life we're creating, it has an energetic imprint that people can pick up on, like that makes it feel so real.
Yeah, 100%. It's like it's stamped in stone. It's there. When some random stranger can pick up the pieces and be like, "Oh yeah, so this is the story you guys are telling." It's like, "Oh, wow, so this is real. It's just reassuring. It's very positive. So for anyone who thinks that walking into a psychic's office is like some doom and gloom deal, it's a scary place, it's psychotic, you go in there and you feel the demons running around. It's not. We walked into a hair salon, and she ushered us into a room that had like those one of those Jamaican bead doors on it, pretty much. It was like
Yeah.
something like that. But it was an actual like
Closet.
door. It looked like a bathroom stall door, pretty much. And it had 2 foot of clearance on the bottom. The walls didn't go all the way up to the roof, so everybody in the salon
Everyone
can
who's
hear the
getting
whole
their hair done definitely heard her whole life story.
yeah whole life story right there. So some of them, if they are psychics, they are doing their research well. But yeah, it's not what you would think it is. It's not. It's a very, very positive experience. I'm sure there are some bad apples out there, but just do your research. I found this lady in 10 minutes. Just looked up psychics near me, looked at reviews, locations, and obviously prices, because some people can joust you on that stuff. Um, I don't know. I can't really weigh in on what prices would be around the world. I have no idea. I'm sure it varies. But yeah, it's a fun experience, a positive thing, and I pretty much encourage everybody to do it. Um,
It's fun.
yeah, it's
And
interesting. It's
ever
fun.
since then,
It
I've
gives you
just,
a different kind of confidence.
it does. It really does. And it's like, you know what? Everything's working out for me. And like
Mhm.
everything I'm doing to create this life, like it's working. Like
Yes.
we're seeing that it's happening. We're seeing that in reality, but then also to see like the larger scope from her. It's just really fun. And it's allowed me to like, I feel like it's allowed us to have even deeper conversations and
Hmm.
really connect more, which is what I liked about that. Doing that
Yeah.
for a date instead of like going to dinner is just so good. It's just so good for like connection
Yeah.
and getting closer. But since then, I've been trying to just like really tap into my intuition more. I've been reading a book on palm reading now because I want to learn how to read palms. So like it's just fun. Like I'm not going to go and make a career out of it, but we all have our sixth sense. We all
do.
can tap into our intuition, and it's not set in stone. Like you are in control of your own path, and you
are.
can always change it.
All this stuff
So-
is just kind of based on the way you're headed, and based on like what you want, what you're telling yourself, what you're telling your subconscious that you want, the actions that you're doing every day, the situations you're putting yourself in. It's obviously you're working towards an end goal somewhere, whether you know what it is or you don't know what it is. You're working towards that, and these kind of people who are genuine can kind of pick up on it and help you out. So yeah, if you're looking for a good date idea, I strongly encourage going to a psychic. It's fun, and yeah, the most important thing, the coolest thing, other than like the positivity that it brought and the reassurance, is just if there was ever an aspect, Kodiak's snoring out there. If there was ever like an aspect of your life where you started to feel like kind of everything's a little bit monotonous, like you're not unhappy because like things are going well, you're working, you're making money, you have your wife, your kids, your husband, your dogs, your cats, whatever it is that makes you happy, everything's going well, but you just kind of almost feel like you're on a hamster wheel in a way, even though you're not, but you kind of are. Something like that does give you like a newfound confidence in your day to day of just like, it just like realigns you with just like, oh yeah, there are like big goals and dreams that are going to be happening soon, and it's more than one, and there's several of them, and it's a newfound confidence. Captain, please don't push me again. So I encourage everybody to do it. Check them out. But if you find a bad one, that's not my fault. It's your fault. Do your research better.
Yeah, that was fun. Cheers to the sixth sense.
You
And
got a lot of pulp
love
hanging
it.
down on the bottom right there.
Yeah, I put a lot of ginger, and
Oh,
now
that's
I
all
need to
ginger.
stir it up.
Yeah, you're going to have a tablespoon of ginger right there. So cheers to intuition. Thank you, everybody. We're out.